do 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 do. Hello, Jenny. I am just getting ready. Just had my doctor's appointment, which was prolonged in the sense that it took them a long time to send me the link. I'm gonna close Photoshop since I don't need that anymore. Oh, Melissa is live right now. She's probably wrapping up like any minute. Friday from 11:30 CST. That would be 10 something. Okay. 10:30. Good morning, Kat. Good morning, Christina. Got home a little while ago. Long, rough morning in pizza and land. Yeah. Did you put in your 2 weeks? I did catch your post on the server. Or was that did that discussion happen before you or after you came back from work? When you pick up your check, that's a good call. Won't you take me to Pizza Land? Won't you take me to Pizza Land? I want to be in Pizza Land. I went to in the eating capacity, not the making capacity. I kind of wish I had a frozen pizza. Maybe I'll get a Bricks pizza today. I have coffee. We'll start at 10 at the top of the hour. Oh, I should get the music, right? Royalty-free morning music. I'm imagining it's like Funky Town, but with pizza dough buildings and pepperoni streets. I see. Hey, you were a poet, didn't even know it. Check that out. Music is good. But it's only an hour, so I have to like back it up about halfway in. So, I discovered recently that I don't sleep very well when I don't take my night meds. Mushroom trees, pineapple fire hydrants, Canadian bacon pine cones scattered all over breadstick playgrounds. Oh. Imaginative. You should write a children's book. Oh. Oh my god, I was a poet. That rarely happens. Maybe I should focus on winging a few short stories today. I'm feeling creative. A few short stories, or like... or flashes? Because my short stories are anywhere between 4 and 9K. Or 15K. Usually at the lower end of that. Maybe I need more coffee. This is my second cup. Do you guys feel up to the grounding ritual today? Meow. Hi, Allie. 5-year-old colored in zombie Princess Anna from Frozen. Mama's so proud. It's so awesome. I saw your comment on Insta. Meow. Between 1 to 3 flashes, poems, short stories, or one of each. Bailey's been pretty good. I could get some weirdness done. Nice. My short stories are around 5K. Cool. Mama's proud of her zombie living daughter. Allie, that is rad. Is it a coloring book? It seems like it is. Okay. I know lighting isn't super great today, but I don't feel like reorganizing everything here just to turn on my ring light. It was a felt coloring page. I did not help. I just found it today. That is awesome. Yeah. Woo. So what do you guys think of a grounding ritual today? Should we skip it? Should we go straight to the card? I guess I should do my intro thing. Joyous time zones, my Sakonauts. I'm Sako Tumi, also known as the Witch of Tylwyth Teg, and today we're talking about Ego Magic in Condensed Chaos by Phil Hine. All right. Do I sound like I want to skip it? I kind of do. But I don't mind doing it if you guys want it. Fancy. You make that? Make what? We can skip today. Okay. We can skip today. Yeah, I made that. Yeah. I keep reaching for my cup like there's stuff in it. There's not stuff in it. Couple drops left. All right, let's look at today's card then. Ready to listen and learn. All right. All right. Let's see what's up. Ooh. Knight of Swords. Charge ahead, get shit done. Buzz? I don't know what buzz. It could be Chloe. Sometimes Chloe goes live, like at 10 o'clock. Oops, upside down. Swords. Princess, Knight. When there's a will, there's a way. Strong intentions and intense focus forge the path ahead. Your eyes on the prize and nothing can stop you. If things have been slow, the Knight of Swords is the sign that it's about to get a lot busier around here. Your communication skills are on point, and you are able to effectively convey a message. Elevate and sharpen your mind by surrounding yourself with like-minded people to share your opinions with. Headstrong and full force throttle on a passionate endeavor is admirable. Just be wary of long-term effects that shortcuts can make. Rushing projects can mean overlooking quality control in the long run. Take responsibility over your actions and how that may impact others. Keep an eye on the quality of your creations and enjoy the process. Life is a journey, after all. Sounds like a good day for creating shit. Ego magic. So how do we feel about the Knight of Swords today? So on point, you know? Ego magic. Our sense of being an individual emerges from clusters of beliefs, attitudes, self-definitions, inner conversations, boundaries, and projections of otherness. We move each day through a highly complex field of social relations, assuming roles, wearing carefully crafted masks, and tactily, there's a typo, agreeing to play by the rules of consensus or paramount reality. Hi, Kat. Welcome back. I'm the only one without coffee now. Paramount reality is a realm that has received very little attention, at least from a magical perspective. It is the reality that we move away from and reluctantly return to, and is regarded by many as mundane or material, as though it could not be a source of power or ecstasy. One of the strengths of chaos magic is the emphasis placed on identity work within the dimensions of consensus reality, dimensions which, after all, resemble the simplicities and complexities of fractals. Oh, Kat doesn't get to be creative today because she's got a double shift. Ugh, gross. Well, I hope you get money in compensation. Some chaos magic exercises can emphasize being able to adopt different belief systems to change attitudes, not merely intellectually, but also in terms of emotional feelings and physical action. As in tantric practice, there we go, we embrace that which we have rejected, and by doing so, push back the boundaries of what we consider possible. To do this successfully requires great determination, as entering a different belief system requires that we enter a new field of social relations, adopt new masks, accept new self-labels, and the behaviors and emotions that accompany them. Prolonged practice in such social paradigm shifting brings home one very clear point: identity is fragile. Identity is fragile. Excuse me. The sense of individual identity emerges from a complex series of interwoven social interactions. We internalize a series of self-labels and alliances, and from these arises our experience of selfhood. We may define ourselves in terms of work, status, race, nationality, or gender preference. Often one particular set of social relations becomes the core of identity, the label which we fall back on to define ourselves to others as what we are. As the patterns of post-industrial society become increasingly fractal in their behavior, so identity becomes increasingly fluid, a position which implies both possibilities of freedom and great alienation and fear. So, considering this book was written in 1992, 93, when was it written? 95. This was in 1995. Always changing with the time, place, our feelings, etc. Exactly. And the more people that do it, the more our reality is shifting. Everybody's paradigm is shifting. As fluctuations of social change become greater and greater, so there is an increased tendency to desire solid connections with a historical past. The obsessions with roots, getting back to nature, and the current vogue for cultural romanticism and invocation of traditions. All attempts to find points of anchorage, to create islands of order within what Austin Osman Spare called the chaos of the normal. Within the social maelstrom, many seek stability within subcultures, seeking to bolster up the sense of identity by merging with a group which has a clear style, dress codes, beliefs, attitudes, emotive patterns, and behaviors. Moving within the limited expressions of a distinct social system buffers us against chaos, and we can draw strength from the sense of being part of a community, with varying degrees of a sense of separation from mainstream society. This book predates me. Many books do. Yeah. This particular book, yeah, is older than you. But interesting how topical it is, isn't it? Guess who decided to record a Finnish quote at the end of the story? Me! So I've been rehearsing Finnish pronunciation all morning until it's perfect, stopping by to show some love. So lovely to see you, doll. We're talking about ego magic today and how identity is fragile. Very cool, doll. Practice does make perfect. I'm sure it will be beautiful. Magicians often report a growing sense of alienness from consensus reality, a core perception which can all too easily manifest as ego-bound elitism or aloofness. How magicians deal with this experience of difference is thus a source of great interest. This particularly important. Let me try this again. This is particularly important within the chaos and tantric paradigms, where the emphasis is on deconstructing identity rather than continually seeking to reinforce it through making stronger attachments to any one set of social relations, and thus limiting oneself to a particular range of expression and movement. Yeah. Hi, Debbie. Glad you could make it. By entering a magical universe, we seek to impose order onto chaos. We enter mythic time or eternal time, a link with the past through symbol, image, and continuity. An escape route whereby we can gain a breathing space, a sense of order and structure. The magical revival is powered by two related undercurrents. Firstly, the search for a personal and collective past, and secondly, the need for escape routes from the perceived tyranny of paramount reality. The desire to uncover and preserve the past is part of the impulse to preserve the self. More self-love. Without knowing where we have been, it is difficult to know where we are going. The concern for uncovering the past through ruins, museums, etc. has grown since the 19th century. The past is the foundation of personal and collective identity. It offers the sense of continuity, of eternal time, but history is no longer truth. The past can be rewritten, reforged in a new image to feed our dreams of golden ages, of national boundaries, of ageless wisdom. History turns into commodity. The preoccupation with roots has grown rapidly since the 70s, ever more so because of widespread insecurities in areas nominally seen as stable: labor, credit, technology, skills. Magical universes return to us as promise of a meta-theory through which all things can be represented. This runs contrary to the spirit of the age, which turns increasingly away from global projections, where a meta-narrative is illusory. The sciences are suddenly uncertain, no longer able to chart the void through mathematics. They find smaller and smaller worlds to discover. The one-world dream of the Enlightenment is fragmenting into worlds colliding and worlds apart. We don masks and enter the different reality games, the social worlds layered through each other through which we pass each day. That was a weird sentence. The alien worlds we glimpse reflected from the eyes of others whom we cannot touch, whose existence we can only guess at, refracted through the media net of stereotypes and labels. Images flicker across our eyes and in our heads. Becoming a magician implies continual change, modification of identity, entering different paradigms of belief and behavior, learning new skills, and shedding life patterns which have outworn their usefulness. There is thus a shift from a core ego, which is based on maintaining differences, the self-other divide, to that of exo, the self in a continual process of dynamic entanglement. The logical progression of this process is to reach the point where identity is continually being deconstructed. When a measure of fluidity of expression is attained and one is released from the necessity of having one sense of self validated by others. This is what Osmond Spare referred to when he wrote of his doctrine of self-love. This is no narcissistic self-love of glamour, self-reflection of the glamours of the ego. Rather, it is the void at the core of an identity which is freely able to move into any desired set of social relations without becoming trapped or identified entirely within them. As the core of the sense of self is self-love, rather than any label which encapsulates any particular set of behaviors, beliefs, and life patterns, one attains a great sense of freedom of movement and expression without the need for self-definition. Self-love does not necessarily imply alienation or withdrawal from consensus reality. Modern culture is saturated with the escape routes by which we are encouraged to resist the routines of reality. Drugs, sex, fantasy scripts, communal living, separatist ideologies, therapies, mindscapes, and historical or utopian romanticism, all well signposted escape routes that ultimately can be shown to be dead ends. This is especially true of revolutionary endeavors. Sorry about that. Hold on. This is especially true of revolutionary escape routes, political lifestyles, or magical endeavors. That's what it meant. I have this thing where I skip lines for some reason. They support rather than threaten paramount reality, while feeding us the illusion that they are escaping. Many of these escape routes require a change in social scripts and masks, and actually do little more than create temporary enclaves of activity within consensus reality. And consensus reality inevitably recaptures these enclaves, as seen when revolutions inevitably become fashions and trends. Yeah, words are hard, I know, right? Magic is the great escape route. Through its structures, we can project ourselves into mythic time, make place and space sacred, project futures benign or otherwise. While political structures say change the structure and identity will change accordingly, magical realities emphasize change enough identity and the structure will follow. Transient individualists all, we dream new towers from the bedrock of paramount reality. The difficulty comes when we need to convince others to share and support the dream. Thus the paradox of the current aeon. Personal identity has been rendered fluid, ephemeral, and endlessly open to the exercise of the will and imagination. This can be liberating. It is also, of course, deeply unsettling and stressful. Nostalgia for common values becomes a cultural force, as much for the counterculture of the establishment. As our spatial and temporal worlds become increasingly compressed, so we respond with denial, there we go, cynicism, or a blasé attitude to it all, sensory screening, yearning for lost past, and the simplification of representation. The search for escape routes yields yet another market of commodities: drugs, sex, the occult, therapies, mind games, politics. There is no escape from the society of spectacle. To understand the chaoist, I don't know how to pronounce that word, chaot approach to identity deconstruction is let me try this again. To understand the chaot approach to identity deconstruction, we might look at the example of Aleister Crowley, who has left a good deal of useful material for exploring the boundaries of identity. Crowley's life can be understood as a continual battle between himself and consensus reality, a battle to create a personal enclave for himself beyond the limits of conventional morality. Crowley sought to escape from the society of the spectacle by becoming himself a spectacle. He used his lovers, pupils, and writings to create a free area in which he could express the myriad facets of selves which he had uncovered by his magical living. Crowley's approach to the problem of identity was one extreme one, and part of his drive towards the extremities of experience may have come from his desire to create a new society. Like many visionaries, he saw himself as the herald of a new phase of being for all humanity. Matter is my playground. I make and break without thought, laugh and come unto me. Eris, the stupid book. Modern society has extorted, that's a word. Modern society has extorted the notion of individualism almost to a pathological degree. Within the urge to be individual are the continual demands to find real, higher, and true selves. But if nothing is true and everything is permitted, we may come to discover that behind the masks and roles we slip into as we move through the social dynamics of paramount reality, there is only a whirling void. The chaot paradigm offers the freedom to be many individuals and to find a sense of freedom not through attempts to resist paramount reality or to create a free area beyond it, but to embrace it joyfully. While the majority of magical perspectives seek to transcend or reject paramount reality in favor of higher states of being, the chaot paradigm makes paramount reality into a playground for the phenomenizing of will and desire. By experiencing paramount reality from the basis of self-love, we begin the long and fascinating process of bringing to earth whatever shards of the future attract our gaze. By definition, this is the activity of an elite group, since the few have the drive, stamina, and determination to continually strip away layers of identity in favor of freedom of movement. I need coffee. Then we'll talk about breaking the image. And then we'll get into self-examination. I will take you guys with me. Woo! Toasty Computron. Words are hard. Excuse me, kitty. Excuse me, kitty. Adventure time. Let's go to the garden. You'll find something waiting. Right there where you left it, lying upside down. Buzz, buzz, buzz. This thing on my throat, I disagree. I'm not fond of that. It is too early for lunch. It is too early for lunch. I understand you got fed at 8 o'clock this morning. Marie. Oh, he's meowing at me. I gotta feed him. You get a little bit. And then I'll give you my actual lunch. So what's up with all this identity is fragile stuff, huh? What about second or third breakfast? I know, right? Ugh. And my cat doesn't meow like ever unless he's like really hungry. How are you guys doing today? I know how Jenny's doing. And Christina. How about Kat and Debbie? Scarf, scarf, scarf. All right. Kind of want another cigarette. I will do another cigarette. However, I will take the book with me. All right. I'm not gonna. I will be getting ready for work and cleaning up a little. Right on. Excuse me. I'm good. Chubby Kitty is snoring in a chair across the room and really loud. It's making me smile. I love it when cats snore. It does make me worry sometimes, but oh, my poor legs. Also, random university in New York. I don't want to be an engineer, stop emailing me. Definitely feel those. Definitely feel those. Oh, it's so nice out. Jesus. It's got to be 70. I have some neighbors who are flipping their house, so there might be some extraneous noise. Those things. It's cute, but it's like, you good, bro? Yeah. But at this point, if she isn't snoring, that's when I get worried. Ah, I see. The process of deconditioning is very strongly emphasized within the chaotic paradigm. Essentially, this is a process of self-awareness, finding out who you are in terms of your acquired beliefs, attitudes, and patterns of behavior. As we move through life, so do we weave around ourselves a complex web of beliefs, self-identifications, and internal conversations, out of which arises the sense of being an individual, which is generally called the ego. Our sense of self is drawn from the solid buildings of consensus reality, the patterns of thought, emotion, and behavior which form the basis of our interaction with the world. Yet our sense of being a unique individual comes from the little ways in which we resist total assimilation to these structures. It is relatively easy to reprogram magical beliefs. This is not to say, however, that all belief shifting is so simple. Some levels of our attitude and belief structure are remarkably resilient to conscious change. Indeed, some structures are able to resist change by remaining elusive and invisible to conscious awareness, and must be dragged kicking into the painful light of self-revelation, i.e. shadow work. If I may use the analogy of beliefs as buildings, the city of self, around the walls of which howls the wind of change, then the continual process of deconditioning may be likened to chipping away at the towers, with the occasional technique provided by recourse to a powerful form of gnosis such as sexual ecstasy, pain overload, or an Albert Hoffman's elixir. I don't know what that means, but okay. Deconditioning is a continual process. Even as you discard one set of limitations, in Tantra this is known as klesha smashing, you may find that you acquire new ones, usually unconsciously. Often belief structures are nested within each other and may have their roots in a powerful formative experience. Timothy Leary calls this process imprint susceptibility, where the imprint forms a baseline response to experience and establishes the parameters within which any subsequent learning takes place. Leary's 8-circuit model of metaprogramming can be employed as an aid to deconditioning. Be mindful that deconditioning process is not merely an intellectual experience. It is relatively easy to intellectually accept some experience or belief which you have previously rejected or dismissed. It takes more resilience to take action from your new position. The risk and emotional upheaval that may result afterwards. For example, a young male magician of my acquaintance who examined his own beliefs about sexuality and decided that he would focus upon his own distaste or fear of homoeroticism. He found that he could accept intellectually his repressed attractions to other males and thus thought himself liberated. He then went on to have several homosexual encounters which he said did not give him any physical pleasure, but merely fed his belief that he had sexually liberated himself. This kind of situation is all too easy to get caught up in. There is a common internal conversation which runs on the lines of, I am a magician, so I ought to be able to do anything without feeling guilt, nausea, uncomfortable, etc. This is merely another ego identification which will arise to intrapsychic contradictions. Habit and belief structure only tends to be successful when the desire to overcome a limitation is stronger than the desire to maintain it. It is one thing to intellectually adopt different beliefs and attitudes, but quite another to live totally according to them. Easier said than done, right? Our web of beliefs and attitudes quite often contradict each other at some level, and we don't tend to notice this until we begin to the slow and painful process of self-examination. It's fairly easy, for example, to shift from being a fanatical Christian to being a fanatical magician. All that has shifted is the surface beliefs, the deep pattern of reinforcing an identity by rejecting anything that does not fit with the self-image remains. Deconditioning necessitates that the core patterns, the threads around which we weave our self-image, be unpicked and untangled, that we understand how we have conditioned ourselves into the set of patterns for dealing with day-to-day experience. Some try and throw off the shackles of conditioning at once, all the shackles at once, and declare themselves to be amoral, which is often a self-deception in itself. So too, there are those who claim to have conquered ego, another fiction, since without a strong sense of personal identity, we are powerless to act, and magic is very much about doing. One approach to deconditioning is to adopt new masks, to take on beliefs, attitudes, and identifications which are very much outside of your dominant self-image. Change your political ideas, shift from introvert to extrovert behavior, shed established habits and addictions, a feat in and of itself, and adopt new ones. Modify your range of sexual behavior, consciously adopt new gestures and body postures, or become passionate about things you would normally dismiss as trivial. In the cultural melting pot of modern society, it is possible to move through a myriad of subcultures, each with its own attitudes, beliefs, ways of defining reality, and social codes. But be warned, you can't get out of bed one morning and say, I'm going to be a hedonistic, pleasure-seeking Satanist. Belief shifting takes time in the investment of emotional energy and determination. Also, it's too easy to merely believe shift within the safety of your own head. You must wear this new mask continually within the most difficult realm, the world of social relations. Hello, Katerina. Glad you could make it. You may take it as a sign of success when other people are convinced by your new identity and accept you or reject you on that basis. One of the resultant insights from belief shifting in this way is of empathy, being able to understand another person's worldview. It is also instructive to realize that your beliefs, when compared to those who you once considered as diametrically opposed to you, are equally nonsensical. Katerinia! I like that. I like that. Sweet turtle friend. Well, I prefer to see this as a form of liberation. If nothing is true, then you might as well adopt new selves and beliefs with joy, knowing that while you wear them, they are as true as anything else. I highlighted that section and I'm not sure why. Deconditioning is rarely simple. Often people who have had an experience of illumination report that all their old repressive structures have dropped away. Tear down a building in the city of identities and it grows back, sometimes with a different shape. One of the effects of intense gnosis is the shattering of layers of belief structure, but it is generally found that unless follow-up work is done, the sense of shattered belief structures is transitory. You should also consider the effects this process is likely to have on others. See Luke Reinhardt's The Dice Man for an amusing and instructive tale of one man's approach to deconditioning. Oh, you're chilling with your mom for the next week. That's awesome. The ego, a self-regulatory structure which maintains the fiction of being a unique self, doesn't like the process of becoming more adaptive to the experience. One of the more subtle defenses that it throws up is the sneaking suspicion, which can quickly become obsession, that you are better than everyone else. In some circles, this is known as magus-itis, and is not unknown for those afflicted to declare themselves to be maguses, witch queens, avatars of goddesses, or spiritual masters. If you catch yourself referring to everyone else as the herd, or human cattle, etc., then it's time to take another look at where you're going. Myself, I prefer the benefits of empathy and the ability to get on with other people than the limitations of being a reclusive would-be Raskolnikov dreaming of the serving slaves. Oh, we're getting close to the end. While we might echo the words of Hassani Sabah that nothing is true, everything is permitted, there we go. Acting totally from this premise is likely to bring you into conflict with those individuals and authorities who have pretty fixed views on what isn't permitted. Thus, despite the glamour, chaos magicians are rarely completely amoral. One of the basic axioms of magical philosophy is that morality grows from within, once you have begun to know the difference between what you have learned to believe and what you will to believe. And I guess we'll talk about self-examination tomorrow. Any thoughts on today? I think I'm going to smoke another cigarette, though. Chilling with mom for the next week. So what is this about deconditioning and accepting new experiences and accepting new belief systems? How do we feel about all of that? I think in researching the world, it is much easier to accept new belief systems. I used to believe that doing witchcraft for people for money was inherently evil. But recently I've been looking at it like it's a skill set that has taken decades to form. So why not charge people for helping them? You're a specialist, just like any other kind. I prefer to be paid in barter, usually in alcohol and cigarettes, but it's still, you know, good for me. Good for me in that I'm looking at that people who charge for witchcraft aren't inherently evil. How is everyone doing? I believe Kat has gone off to work or is still getting ready for work. I appreciate your vote of confidence, Katerina. I mean, I read a lot. I'm glad to hear it, and yes, your skills and talents deserve to be appreciated in any form you accept, as long as you have your boundaries and limits to what you will do or accept, which I'm sure you do, yeah. I sure do. Trying to get motivated for the day. Well, I suspect there are tons and tons of streams today that are productivity streams. It is okay to rest too, Ginny. Especially considering what your work life has been like lately. Because it seems like there's a lot of give and take, and mostly with the giving and mostly with them taking. And then they promise, like, okay, it's going to be all right for the week, and then they go right back to their normal bullshit, right? Charting the self. Here are some preliminary exercises in self-examination. All they require is the honesty to not flinch from those parts of ourselves which we find unpalatable. Palatable. I'm gonna take the weekend off from everything. Oh, okay. This weekend is the write-a-thon. And you're taking a break off from the fucking power outages. Jeez. Poor Sage and the power outages. Want to watch the write-a-thon. Yeah. I'm in talk number 2, which is a talk about horror. Y'all putting so many random songs in my head. Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living. Barely getting by. It's all taken and no given. Yeah. I love every time we have a write-a-thon, I end up working more hours than normal. Oh, sorry, hon. I think maybe someone else will host. I will take care of myself. That is why I'm giving my notice. This job is mentally kicking my butt, not worth the pay. Yeah. But don't cave this time. Hello, Hassan, Maskani. I'm just wrapping up. We were talking about deconditioning today. Not going to cave, I promise. Okay, good. Bailey is listening to a song that says red light, stop, green light, go, red stop, green go, red light, green light. Now you know it's cute, but the way they say green go makes me double take. Can they say that? Can they say that? Oh. Consciously and spiritually? Oh, I bind, rebuke, and enslave you by the mightiest name of Jesus Christ. Oh, I pray, amen. Master, and I send an angel to wage wars against destructions and fights confusions to against you, continuously and spiritually. Gee, thanks. Why such Why such vitriol? I'm here for peace, friend. Your Jesus Christ was a peaceful guy. And each curse that you are about to be going to be projecting curse to against humanity. I don't curse humanity. Quite the opposite. Just woke up and chose violent today, eh, mate? Yeah, no kidding. Here I was all welcoming and warm. Such vitriol. Think you have a lot of things to work through, friend. Okay. I'm not a Satanist. I am quite the opposite of a Satanist, in fact. I did talk about Satanism a little bit, but that does not make me a Satanist. I think you have some self-examination to do as well. I don't do any of that. You have these weird preconceived notions as to what I do and who I am, and I think that's disgusting. Especially since all of your assumptions are wrong. I help humanity. Okay. Hold on, I think I can make that a thing. Oh, I can't make moderators yet. Yeah, I can't make moderators. Oh, I bet I know why. Because I'm not signed in. Hmm. It's not letting me choose other accounts. Switch account. Add account. Use another account. I don't want to give my home address. Not now. Nobody here is your enemy. There we go. There's some wrenches. Yeah, something cast the first stone, am I right? So much hate. I'm a child of God just like you, man. Yes, I do. Thank you. Oh, we have a evangelist attempting to curse me 8 times over, saying that I'm a Satanist and saying that I worship the devil, which aren't the same thing, by the by. Even so, if you liked this video at any point, I encourage you to like this video. If you would like to look at self-examination on Sunday. Oh, okay. Yeah. Anyway, I will catch you guys on the flip side. I just hid them from the channel. Okay. Yeah, I'll see you guys on the server.